wanted to demonstrate a bicep exercise. Look, it doesn't matter what way you do the bicep exercises, to be fair. It's about understanding the functional anatomy behind the biceps, which is what they actually do, and understanding, I want you to understand what an eccentric contraction is, a concentric and an isometric, and how this could be actually leading to causes of shoulder pain without even knowing it. So first off, the top of your bicep actually attaches to your 𝗙𝗂𝘂. So your 𝗙𝗂𝘂 is where a lot of shoulder injuries begin, usually through a weak serratus anterior, which is basically stabilizing muscles between your rib cage and your chest. Now the other part of it is you have this other muscle called your lower trapezius, which is down here. Nobody really speaks about it because it's a very, I would call it a humbling muscle, because when it's turned off and shut down, stuff like that, it can cause problems at the 𝗙𝗂𝘂. The 𝗙𝗂𝘂 then can cause problems at the shoulder. But the biceps attaches to the 𝗙𝗂𝘂. So first off, you see a lot of people doing bicep curls and they're throwing them up in the air. Like think of the stress that's putting on your shoulder. And you might be someone with shoulder injuries. I used to be a little bit of a boxer years ago. I just done 1 or 2 fights, and one day I popped my shoulder in the big boxing ring. Sorest thing I ever done in my life 12 years ago. And that's why I became so educated around the shoulder, because I learned from that mistake. And I don't want you to make the same mistakes, because trust me, biceps can cause shoulder injuries. So if you look at a bicep curl, right, you have the concentric phase, you have the eccentric phase. This is the eccentric phase, which is the loading phase. You have the concentric and the eccentric. And right at the bottom, you have so this is kind of like the end range of it. Makes sense? This is what's going to cause the most muscle damage, right? Now, when you do the concentric here, you also have like an isometric here a little bit at the top, where the muscle develops tension without changing length, right? So you don't think about this. You have to be careful of that, because now my shoulder's in an internal rotation position. Would you agree? Makes sense? And then we're swinging from internal and we're throwing her up. Makes sense? I'm not even noticing these things. So think about this. Imagine doing a bicep curl where you're in a good position, you slowly lower down, you contract, and you just be humble, you just be honest. You just pull up and you slowly go down. And that would look like this on this side. Come up, slowly come down. Because think about it, you may not even notice it, but if you're doing this on a bicep exercise, imagine what you're doing with every other exercise. You've got to kind of understand that we want the shoulder in a good position, we want the 𝗙𝗂𝘂 in a good position, because we want to be able to dictate the quality of movement. And don't think that you have to lift heavy bicep work, right? The thing about biceps as well is, when you do pull-ups, you get me? Biceps are involved, make sense? Our biceps are working in that movement. When we do rows, our biceps are working in that movement. So even if you didn't do bicep curls, you still have big biceps because they're working. But doing them bicep curls without thinking that right, I'll probably have a shoulder injury as it is, am I even lifting the weight through a full range of motion and being able to actually make changes to my biceps over time and being pain free and being a little bit specific, rather than throwing them up and using elbows and using momentum to cheat the reps, but also causing you probably more shoulder pain, more issues. How to program them? I would go once a week, 2 to 3 times a week, 2 sets of 12 to 15 reps, slowly, different variations. You can do hammer curls, you can do reverse curls, and you can do biceps.